Ano kayang connection ni Ivy tsaka ni DV? From the situation here. Okay? So yung independent variable natin dito is the presumed cause and the dependent variable is the presumed effect. Okay, this is the cause, this is the effect. Okay, so independent variable. Okay, so independent variable can be manipulated. Okay, so it can be changed. Namamanipula natin siya or the researcher can manipulate the independent variable. Okay, by means of what? Now let's take this example. Okay, you can manipulate the independent variable by means of the amount of sunlight, okay, as well as the water. Okay, depende sa iyo kung konti lang ididilig mo, konting sunlight lang ang para dun sa tomatoes mo, syempre lalagyan mo ng harang yon. You can manipulate that. Okay, so with that, kung kukonti lang yung dilig or yung water, sa tingin mo ba mas malaki yung growth ng tomatoes or mas marami yung fruits? Di ba? Makaka-apekto yon as well as the amount of the sunlight. If you're going to manipulate it, makaka-apekto siya sa kay dependent variable. So meaning the dependent variable from the word itself dependent, it depends on the independent variable. Okay, so as you manipulate the independent variable, okay, the outcome which is the dependent variable will change. Okay, so as you manipulate the IV, okay, yung outcome natin, yung tinatawag na independent variable is the outcome, okay, it will change then. Okay, independent variable natin. So nakadepende siya kay independent variable. Okay? So with manipulations, okay, series of manipulations, then pwede siyang magbago sa dependent variable. Okay? So to further define what are those, later pala. So let's have this tawag dito, video, short video first. Okay? So this is a 4-minute video, if I'm not mistaken. So what you're going to do is just to identify what is the dependent and the independent variable in the video. Na ano yung dependent tsaka independent variable sa video. So let's take a look. All right. So with the video that you have watched, so what do you think is the dependent and independent variable? Anyone? Ano kaya independent tsaka independent variable? Anyone who would like to try? Before that, for the newcomers, attendance link nasa chat box. Kindly fill out using your genuine user ID. No, yung may SFDSS na may number. Again, with the short video that you have watched, what is the dependent and what is the independent variable? Kagaya kanina, dun sa growth of tomatoes. The growth of tomatoes is the dependent, and then the amount of water in the sunlight is the independent variable, which can be manipulated. Okay? So on the video, ang independent variable tsaka dependent variable, ang independent variable is the one that can be manipulated. Okay, obviously, the independent variable there is the coins. The number of coins, okay, uh, the kid, okay, inserted. Ang dependent variable naman doon is the movement and the amount of time. No? The more coin, tawag dito, the movement and the amount of time. Okay, paano na manipulate yung IV, yung independent variable? Okay, di ba nung una pa lang nung bata siya, isa lang yung hinulog niya. Can with that certain coin, hanggang dun lang yung narating niya. At saglit lang yung time ng paggalaw nung sasakyan. Okay? As he grew older, syempre nag-makeup siya, marami na siya ngayong coins. Hinulog niya lahat yon. Okay, that is the manipulation. Mas marami siya ngayong hinulog na coins. And then with that, as a result, no, mas matagal ngayon yung time na nagamit niya yung sasakyan as well as the movement. Okay, mas malayo ngayon yung narating. No, gusto niya marating yung moon eh. Okay? Therefore, you conclude now that the more coins you have inserted, the more time it functions and the more time it moves. Okay, ganun siya. So yun yung ating independent is the number of the coins. Okay, ang dependent natin is the amount of time and the movement nung sasakyan. Okay, so therefore you can conclude now that the more coins you have inserted, the more time it functions and the more time it moves. Okay, so is that clear? Kindly hit the thumbs up button niya kung clear yun. Okay, good. Okay. So to sum it up, when we say independent variable, these are the presumed cause. Kasi sabi naman natin dependent variable, this is the presumed effect. Okay, the cause and the effect. Okay, both experimental research have independent and dependent variable. Okay, so independent natin is predefined and it is manipulated. It can be manipulated. Ang dependent variable natin naman is the one that must be observed and measured. Okay, so that is the difference between IV at saka DV. Okay. So again, this is just a visual representation lang, no? Visual presentation lang para dun sa paliwanag kanina. Independent is the cause, dependent is the effect. Okay? So IV affects the DV. Okay? So manipulation, then measurement. As you manipulate the independent variable, you will now have an outcome. Okay? So condition A or manipulation A, okay, so will be resulted to outcome A. Okay? So kung meron ka pang other manipulations, then may iba pa ring outcome yon. Okay? Depende sa manipulation ng variables. So ganun din dito. This is just a representation. Cause to effect. Example, if I change the amount of water a plant receives, now the height of the plant will change. Okay? In that case, the independent variable is the water. Okay? Because we are changing it. We do manipulate it. Okay? On the other hand, the dependent variable naman is the height of the plant. Okay? Because it is affected by the water. Okay? Or by the amount of the water. So yun yung ating dependent tsaka dependent variable. So after ng dependent at independent variable, meron naman tayong tinatawag na extraneous at confounding variable. Okay? So ano yun? Paano sila nangyayari? So pag extraneous variables, these are variables wherein or factors wherein it may influence the outcome, okay, which are not manipulated by the researcher. Okay? So these are variables or factors na pwedeng maka-apekto dun sa outcome pero hindi pwedeng mamanipula ng researcher or cannot be manipulated by the researchers. Okay? So ano yung mga example niya? Best example will be the extreme weather conditions. Okay? Extreme weather conditions, hindi mo yun mamamanipulate. Okay, unlike the amount of water, the coins inserted, okay, pwede mo yung mamanipulate. Okay? So unlike extreme weather conditions, hindi mo yun mamanipulate. Okay? So hindi mo alam kung kailan yung darating. Okay? So as well as the pest, yung mga peste. Okay? So those are the things researchers cannot be manipulated. Okay? So with those factors, with those variables, no, ang tawag sa kanila is extraneous variables. No, those variables that cannot be manipulated but may affect no the outcome. That is extraneous variables. Kailan naman magiging confounding variables, extraneous variables? Okay. So magiging confounding variables, extraneous variables once no the extraneous variables succeed no in affecting the outcome. Kunwari, sa extreme weather condition is extraneous variable. Magiging confounding variables na siya kapag sa extreme weather condition ay naka-apekto na doon sa outcome ng research. Okay? Let's say for example sa growth ng tomatoes. Okay? So sa extreme weather condition, naapektuhan niya ngayon sa growth of tomatoes, nalanta siya because of extreme weather condition. With that, kung naapektuhan niya na ngayon yung outcome, tatawagin na siyang confounding variables. Okay? So nakukuha natin yung pagkakaiba. Extraneous variables are just variables no, that may affect the outcome, okay, but it cannot be manipulated. Okay? So once the extraneous variables affect no, the outcome, it will be called confounding variables. Okay? So yun lang yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa. Next. So yung variable natin nahati pa rin into two. Meron tayong numerical at categorical. So numerical is quantitative. Okay, categorical naman is qualitative. Okay, so under numerical, we do have the discrete and continuous variable. Okay, so sa qualitative, which is categorical, we do have the nominal, the ordinal, the dichotomous, and then the polychotomous. Okay, hindi ko lang naisama dyan. So let's get to it one by one. So quantitative variables. So pag sinabing quantitative variables, this refers to numerical variables. Okay, so numerical variables siya. So meaning numeric. Meron tayong dalawa, si discrete tsaka si continuous. Okay, so para mas madali na lang, discrete variables are countable numbers. Okay, continuous variables is a non-countable whole numbers. Ganun lang siya. Pag discrete variables, countable. Kay continuous, non-countable. Okay, discrete variables are countable whole numbers. Okay, it does not take negative values between fixed points. Example lang, discrete variables are the number of students in a class, group size, frequency, no, those whole numbers. Yun yung tinatawag natin discrete variables. Pagdating naman kay continuous, it take fractions, it take fractional, no? Meaning a non-whole number. Okay, or non-whole number values. So it can either be positive at negative. Pagdating kay continuous, it can be positive and negative, unlike discrete. Example naman ng continuous are height and temperature. Okay, height and temperature. Okay, kasi yung ating mga height and temperature, there are point something there, di ba? So hindi siya whole numbers, okay, not countable numbers, unlike a discrete variable. Okay, so continuous variables talks about numbers in between whole numbers. Okay, let's say for example, 4.5, 3.5. Okay, so yung discrete naman or discrete variables talks about the whole numbers itself, like number of children, No, in the family, class attendance. Okay, so we do not say that we have 2.5 children in the family. No, hindi natin sinasabi yun kasi ano yun, manananggal. Diba? Wala naman 2.5 children. So that is quantitative variables. Under niya, discrete at continuous. Now, meron naman tayo tinatawag na two levels of measurement. Si interval, tsaka si ratio. Okay? So, si interval, tsaka si ratio, almost similar lang din naman sila. Ang pinagkaiba lang, si interval are quantitative variables where the interval or differences between consecutive values are equal and meaningful but the numbers are arbitrary. Okay, in other words, pag sabi interval, from the word itself, interval. Okay, so yung naging gap. Okay, example, the difference between 36 degrees and 37 degrees is the same as between 100 degrees and 101 degrees. Okay, so ano yung interval mula 36 to 37 degrees? Diba, it's 1. 100 to 101 degrees, 1. Okay? So sa ratio naman, you know it naman what is ratio, what ratio is. Ratio is a type of data no, which is similar to interval. The only difference is the presence of a true zero value. Okay? So the 0 point in this scale indicates the absence of the quantity being measured. Examples are age, height, weight, and distance. Ano yung true zero value? Ano yung true 0 point? Okay? So pinagkaiba nila si ratio is has an absolute zero, si interval does not have an absolute zero. Anong pinagkaiba? Meaning kay ratio, once na meron kang 0 point, no, in a scale, it indicates absence of a quantity, meaning wala, kaya nga zero pag ratio. Kung zero yung age, walang age. Zero yung height, walang height. Zero yung weight, walang weight. Zero yung distance, walang distance. Okay, let's say for example, I travel zero distance. Then you do not travel because zero yung distance. Unlike an interval, pag sinabing zero here, okay, it does not, yung 0 point na pagdating kay interval does not suggest absence of property being measured. No? Dito absence yung quantity being measured. Pagdating kay interval, kapag may zero, hindi absence. Why? Let's say for example, here, in the temperature, degrees Celsius. Okay, one best examples are temperature. Okay, so the temperature at 0 degrees Celsius is assigned as the melting point of the ice. Okay, so meron pa din. Okay, kahit zero na, nasa interval, meron pa rin siyang value, which is the melting point of the ice. Unlike sa ratio, kapag zero na yon. Okay, meaning absent, no absence of a quantity. Kapag zero kay interval, meron pa rin siya. Okay, one best example is the temperature, which is zero, which is the melting point of the ice. Okay, so other examples nito are the year as well as the IQ score, no, ng mga interval. The time. Okay, there is a time interval. So yun yung ating two levels of measurement no, when it comes to numerical data. Next is qualitative variables. Kanina quanti, no? Ngayon, qualitative variables. Kapag qualitative variables, it talks about categorical variables. Okay, so when it's categorical variables, this is not expressed in numbers. Okay, so it will be expressed in descriptions or categories. Okay, and it is further divided into nominal, ordinal, dichotomous, and polychotomous. Okay, so let's get to it. Nominal and ordinal. Okay? So ganito na lang paiksin natin. So when we say nominal, no, meaning it cannot be organized in a logical sequence. Again, pag sinabing nominal, it cannot be organized in a logical sequence. This is just for simply identification or classification. Pag ordinal naman, it can be logically ordered at it can be logically ranked. Na-order siya, tsaka nara-rank pag ordinal. Pag nominal, hindi. Simple for identification and classification lang. Okay, example in nominal variable. A basketball player's number is used to distinguish him from other players. Okay, but it certainly does not follow that the player 10 is better than player 8. Kasi wala naman tayong rank, di ba? When it comes to the basketball jersey, okay, sa jersey ng mga basketball player, hindi porkit suot niya is jersey number 10, eh mas magaling na sa kay jersey number 1. Kasi mas mataas si jersey number 10. Okay? Wala namang rank, walang order pagdating kay nominal. Okay? It is just used for categories and identification. Meaning siya si player number 10, siya si player number 8. Okay, yun lang yung pinagkaiba nila. Pero sabihin mo mas magaling si number 10 kay number 8, it does not follow. Okay? Because that is just nominal variable. Ganon din sa mga iba, blood type. Hindi porket blood type O ako, mas magaling na ako sa iyo. Kasi blood type AB ka. Okay? Again, it does not follow. Okay, this is just for classification purposes. Hair color. No, hindi porket black yung buhok ko, ay mas malakas ka na kasi orange yung buhok mo. Okay? So, hindi yung super saiyan. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. That is nominal variable. Next is ordinal. So when it comes to ordinal, it can be logically ordered now and it can be ranked. Nararank na siya. So best example here is the survey questionnaire. Okay, survey questionnaire may have a numerical rating no as choices like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diba? Sa mga survey natin. So it is ranked accordingly. It's up to you. It's up to the researcher. Okay, here 5 is the highest, 1 is the lowest, no, or vice versa. Okay? So that is numerical rating. Pwede rin naman categorical rating. Okay? So when we say categorical rating, yung mga strongly agree, okay, agree, somewhat agree, no, disagree, strongly disagree. Okay? So other examples niya pa are the cancer stages. Okay, meron tayong stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Okay, so yung mga ganon. Okay, meaning it can be logically ordered and ranked. No, hindi gawa-gawa. Spotify top 20 hits. Okay, so top 20 hits. So top 20 meaning meron tayong rank, may order. Okay, academic honors with highest, honors with high honors with honors. Okay, so those are some examples of ordinal variables. Okay, so that is nominal tsaka ordinal variables, which is a qualitative variables. Next, punta tayo kay qualitative variables, kay dichotomous at polychotomous variable. Okay, so from the word itself, di at poly, what does it mean? Dichotomous, polychotomous. What does di means? The prefix di.
Two.
Okay, very good. Two. And then poly means
Many.
many. Very good. So dichotomous variables, so from the word itself, consisting of only two distinct categories or variables. Okay, ang tawag dun is binary variable. So for example, a response to a question either be a yes or no. Okay, so dichotomous variables kapag dalawa lang yung category. Okay, or yung pagpipilian, yes or no. Okay, so true or false. Ikaw at ako. No, hindi kasama yon. Okay, so yes or no lang, true or false, those na merong two distinct categories or values. That is dichotomous. Pag marami na siya, more than two na siya, three and up na siya, so polychotomous na yung tawag. Okay, polychotomous variable is a variable that can have more than two values. Okay, so polychotomous variables can be ordered, unordered, and sequential. Okay? So yung polychotomous variables, nahati siya sa tatlo. Ordered, unordered, tsaka sequential. Okay? So ordered, unordered, tsaka sequential. So yun siya. This is polychotomous and dichotomous. Once the Zoom meeting has ended, kindly rejoin for a minute. Okay? I think this will be the last slide. Less than 1 minute na lang kasi. Okay. So this will be the last slide. Victorina. Before tawag dito, I announce the activity, no? That will serve as your assignment na lang siguro yung activity, no? After this discussion. Okay. So qualitative variables pa din, doon tayo sa polychotomous, sabi may tatlo daw, merong ordered, unordered, tsaka sequential polychotomous. So syempre, from the word itself, when we say ordered, okay, so meron tayong order. Pwede ito sa polychotomous variables. Example of this is